Welcome back to A Guide to Poor Parenting, a podcast where me, Jason,
and me, Jennifer,
have a few drinks
and talk shit about our kids.
Ooh, and I'm excited about today's episode. We have a legend in my life. She is a badass. She is the mother of the two most ungrateful little shits I've ever met, but I love them so much. She's a single mom. She's a wonderful lady. She is an inspiration to me. Jennifer, you don't know her super well, do you?
No, not really. I've met her a couple times, but
Yeah.
I feel like I know her.
Well, you're about to get to know her much better.
Yes.
Please, I was going to say get a drum roll, but we ain't got a soundboard. So please give a warm welcome to our guest, our second guest. Well, I don't know when this podcast is coming out. So one of our first guests, Gwen. I'm going to take out your last name so we'll just say Gwen. How about that?
All right, great.
Hi, Gwen.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Are you still mad at your little shits?
Well, mad at one of them for lying to me about a trip to Florida. It was supposed to be a long weekend. Now it's 7 days.
I still can't believe he did that. Little turd got down to Florida. He told his mom he was going to go for a weekend trip, come back on Tuesday, and then called you when?
Saturday, actually, when they left, he fessed up and told me.
Yeah, that he would not be coming back till the following Saturday. It's like, man.
Because he knew I'd say no.
A week out of school.
Right.
Little turd. Oh, that's so. For our listening audience, Gwen is the mother of my little brothers. She and I are not actually
Related.
Blood
related.
Yeah, I met Gwen 8 years ago, almost not to the day, but soon.
In July, right?
Yeah, when I volunteered to become a big brother. I remember her coming into the Big Brothers and Big Sisters office in North Alabama with two little 8-year-old boys, and one of them was very nervous, I could tell, because he kept darting glances at me. And then I think we all went into the meet with the, I don't remember, I can't remember
her name either.
Yeah, but we went and met with somebody, and I think we talked to each other, made sure we weren't completely crazy.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, they were wrong about that.
Well, that's true. They were wrong on all fronts.
He has no idea what he was getting into.
Y'all didn't know what you signed up for.
But, 8 years in, that's a long time for a big brother. So.
I mean, I got to tell you, Jason has been a savior in our lives. He is a rock like nobody else has been, which is, the boys call him, and he's there no matter what time, no matter what he's doing, and he's there.
Well, I want to add one caveat to that, is when they call me in the middle of the day, hey, can you come get me some Chick-fil-A?
Well, right. Besides that,
If it's important.
Yeah, I try to be. They have been just like my own children, the greatest joy and the greatest challenges of my own life, but I wouldn't change it for anything. So yeah, that's how we met. And then I think you and Jennifer have met a few times just over at our house, me and Zane's house, I think.
Christmas parties, things like that. Yeah, get-togethers.
So y'all don't know each other super well, but y'all are going to get to know each other very well soon because we got some stuff to talk about. Miss Gwen, you want to tell us about how you decided your foolish choice to become a mother?
Well, I was living in Germany, working for the Army as a civilian, and I was having the time of my life.
Hell yeah, I would too.
Traveling everywhere, single, dating a lot of people, and then I met the charmer of my life, and he charmed everything about me, and I got pregnant.
Charmed his way right into your panties.
He did. I got pregnant, and when I told him it was twins, his jaw dropped and he disappeared. And that's pretty much how it's been the whole time. So I don't have too much good to say about him, but...
was he good in bed at least?
Oh, God, he was good in bed. Yeah, I got to say, he was.
He doesn't have a lot of redeem. I've only met this person a few times. Like I say, he's hot.
He's really good looking.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of charm.
Not much else.
Not much else. Not much sense. And really good in bed. So,
Cheers.
That was a good combination when I was in Germany having fun. So, and then I found out that it was twins.
And how old were you when you got pregnant?
I was 38. So my
Oof.
entire life I had wanted to be married and have kids, and that just wasn't working out for me. So I had finally come to terms with, all right, this isn't going to happen, at least the kid part. So I had come to terms with it. I was good, and lo and behold, I get pregnant. And it's twins, twin boys. They're due on Christmas Day, and I had gotten pregnant on Easter. So the whole thing was, to me, biblical from the beginning, you know. So,
Is that why you named them after a couple of apostles?
well, I named John August after my best friend's twin son who passed away. And then I named Matthew because John and Matthew together mean in the light of God.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
So,
I probably did know that. You told me this, and we probably had a lovely conversation. I just forgot
exactly.
it.
It's lost, you know.
Bad memories.
So you're 38, going on 39.
Yeah, so I turned 39, and I had them at 39. Yeah, so I was considered a high-risk pregnancy.
Yeah.
So I guess I went on bed rest at 6 months maybe, but there was no bed rest there. I mean, because I'm at home nesting and, trying to fix things up. And I felt good. I felt great being pregnant. I was never sick. My skin was awesome. My hair was awesome. There's not a stretch mark on my body, which is amazing.
Hell yeah.
Because I gained 70 pounds. I mean, I was huge.
Wow.
And when the boys were born, they were 19 and a half inches each.
Wow.
So
Those are
it
some
was,
big babies.
yeah, they were long babies.
Do you remember how much they weighed when they were born?
5'6" and 5'7".
Well, that's good for twins because
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
they're under. I mean,
And they came a month early.
yeah, that's
So-
awesome.
Long, skinny babies.
Yes,
Yeah,
they were.
That's what I was, long, skinny baby.
So there began the challenge of really understanding what it was like to be a single mother.
That's the thing that amazes me. I'm like, I don't know that had I been in your position, being a man, I'm not going to ever face this position, but I'd be shitting bricks.
Well, I got to tell you, ignorance was bliss. I mean, truly. I had a great family. I moved back to Alabama from Germany before I had the boys. And my father had my back. My family had my back. So I really wasn't scared, but I also really didn't comprehend what I was getting into.
Because your dad lived with you.
Right,
Or you
my-
lived with which way
My
was it?
dad moved in with me shortly after they were born.
And he lived with you until they were like
3.
3? Okay. I wasn't sure. I remember Jaju. He was such a sweetheart.
He was a hard ass, but he was a sweetheart, and he
He
adored.
was nice to me.
He adored the boys. That is for sure.
Yeah.
But the minute John and Matthew started calling him Dad, he said, "Oh no, that's it. I gotta go," and he left. But I guess the most shocking thing to me, and this may happen with all parents, I have no idea, but shortly after they were born, I had friends staying with me, and we took shifts feeding the kids. So every 45 minutes, we were up feeding, changing diapers. They were going to throw up, do that, get them settled back down. Well, so really, I was getting 30 minutes of sleep
Wow.
intervals. So I didn't realize how hard that was until I literally started seeing pink elephants and just kind of talking to myself. I mean, I really saw pink elephants.
Wow.
And when that happened, I had some other friends step in who would come and stay the weekend.
Wow.
So that was much better.
That is some good friends you had.
Oh, no doubt. I had 3 people who were just
Your village.
my village.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now, was it the boys' godparents? Were they part of that?
Yeah, the Catherine and her mother. Catherine is the boys' godparents. She and her mother came down for the first 3 weeks, and so that helped tremendously. But it still, they left, and then it hit me seeing the pink elephants and just not being able to function. I couldn't figure out how many bottles. I couldn't figure out. I was just literally exhausted.
I can't even imagine.
So
Were the twins, were they together? Or were they separate? Like one was sleeping, the other one was awake.
I tried to put them on the same schedule, but one of them, Matthew, was very colicky. So that was part of the issue. And I guess John overcompensated with being quiet and mild while Matthew just raised hell. I mean, there was nothing, we used to get up and sing him Frere Jacques, and it was the tone of her voice that helped him calm down. And so he was extremely challenging, and I felt bad for John, because I just couldn't give enough attention to both of them at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had bought this. This is so funny. I had bought this huge brown leather recliner with envisioning having a boy on each boob and feeding them and how wonderful that was going to be. No, that did not work out.
Were you able to breastfeed them?
For maybe 2 weeks, and it was a struggle. And I think part of that is I was so stressed out that my milk really didn't come in.
Was it always the colostrum or whatever?
Yeah. So I did get that down. And then we switched to Enfamil, and Matthew was throwing up all the time. He was just, yeah. So
he hasn't stopped since.
No, he has not stopped raising hell since.
He has been a little hellion. Well, let's, frankly, I think we could talk about your journey into motherhood like forever because it's so incredibly interesting. But let's, I want to segue real quick. Jennifer, do you want to talk about what we're drinking today?
Yes, we are drinking Moscow Mules.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
the vodka we're using is the American vodka brand from Kirkland.
From Costco.
It's a Kirkland brand from Costco. And it is, you made it very yummy.
Oh, thank
you
you
so much.
They are delicious.
Mine's a little tart because that's what I am. And Gwen's got a little simple syrup in hers because she's a little sweet.
Sweet as sugar.
That's right.
Oh,
Yay.
it's the diabetes.
Thanks, asshole.
I don't know what it is. Like, I've heard that it's the same stuff as Grey Goose because the bottles look very similar.
It's very smooth.
Yeah, and I love it. It's like, I think that giant bottle was $17.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, that's a great,
Yeah, I love it.
great buy.
So, anybody gets their liquor at Costco, write in and tell us how, or send us a sample. We'd love it.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you're hearing anything weird in the background, like we said before, this is a working kitchen, and you're probably hearing like the washing machine or dryer going. So,
Kids, dogs,
yep.
Doesn't matter. You might hear a baby cry because Jason's granddaughter is here.
Newest granddaughter.
Newest granddaughter, the baby. 9 months old and raising hell.
Miss Ayana. So, I'm not sure if Gwen knew this, but my daughter, Kishanalyn Kiki, we call her Kiki, she got a job at, Miss Jennifer's causing disturbances. She got a job at the local Target distribution center. And so she was working at Subway part-time trying to raise a 9-month-old while we have her 7-year-old. And she just, barely couldn't make it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She got a job and she had orientation the Thursday. And I if anyone's tough enough to do it, she is, but it's going to be a tough job because she has to work in an unair-conditioned warehouse.
Oh, my gosh.
And I don't think it's heated very well either during the winter. So, and it's a lot of like moving boxes. So, but I mean, if she can make it work, it's like $40,000 a year.
Oh, that's great.
So, I mean, it'd be life-changing for her. I'm just hoping it works.
Me too.
Well, at least give her some experience so she can move on to something better.
Yeah. And, I think part of it, she just doesn't believe in herself because she's got management experience with McDonald's. And I think that's translatable because it's such a high, fast-paced area.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cheers to our Moscow Mules, ladies.
Woo, cheers.
Cheers.
So yummy.
Hopefully it won't get completely trashed like we did those first couple of podcasts.
You did, not Jennifer.
Well, that's true. Jennifer has the liver of 3 people, but we recorded 2 podcasts in one day, and by the second podcast, Mama Jason was drunk. I was like, I cannot drive today, but I feel really good.
We were drinking whiskey. And
oh my gosh.
Drinking really good whiskey.
Uh-huh.
And then we drank the wine after, and it was pretty heavy pours because
Holy cow.
we were trying to get the pictures for Instagram. We were trying to get the words on my favorite glass, so you had to fill it up.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Of course. And so that's what we were drinking on.
Oh, yay for being drunk.
Yay.
And talking shit about our kids. Well, Miss Gwen, the reason we asked you here today because I know you have a very interesting perspective, and I have a feeling we're going to have having you back because you have tons of perspectives. Because I'm hoping maybe next season we'll get some people in from Big Brothers Big Sisters and have you back for that discussion. But I think the main thing I thought of when we thought of asking you is you know a lot about single motherhood because single mother of twins. I still don't know how you did it. And Miss Jennifer is a single mother of a 10-year-old.
Rambunctious.
Very rambunctious. Yes. And y'all's boys, Matthew and Wesley, both have a lot in common. They're both ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder. And so that's why we had you in. So
maybe I can learn some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
How not to, show bruises when I beat them,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got some good info.
You do? Okay, good. Maybe we'll talk about it after so
Yes.
HR doesn't get called,
They're fine. They don't care in Alabama. I think the big thing you're going to have to teach her is how to patch up drywall from all the holes the little turt's going to punch in the wall.
You have that issue too?
Not yet.
Okay.
He's 10.
I'm sure it'll happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
He did open the door really hard and put a hole in the wall from the door.
It's just one of many.
I don't think he did it on purpose, but I really, I don't know. He lies a lot, so.
Huh. Shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's the ADHD or if that's the foster care thing or what. Because they warned us in foster care training. They're like, they're going to lie. They're just going to lie through their teeth. You're going to see them push over a child and I didn't do it. I'm like, just saw you, little fucker.
Well, and part of it with ADHD is their insane sense to please because they already feel like they get you upset. And so, unfortunately, I looked for a support group of single mother with twins, ADHD, and at the time, there was just not a lot in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
So I just kind of tried to, bought books and tried to figure it out on my own, made lots and lots of mistakes. And one of those mistakes is reacting when I should not have reacted to his
Outbursts or
I used just, and he would, when I would take him to school when he was little, I would pick him up and he would literally just let loose.
Yeah.
And later on, I found out, well, that's because he has kept all that anger and tension and uneasiness in all day. So he had to let it out. And I was safe ground. I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so
You're
that,
mama, that's just what
and I got to
do.
tell you, that was extremely hard.
So when does the pleasing part starts? Because he does not try to please me in any type, not nastiness, but like try to be good or like when does
Well,
that
I mean,
start?
that's part of the lying.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to tell you that they've made a hole in the wall because
I got you.
you'd be disappointed in them.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of along those lines.
Yeah, he tells me he lied just so that he doesn't get in trouble, and I'm like, dude, you get in more trouble when you lie.
Yeah, right.
But he doesn't understand. Like, it doesn't connect in his head. Oh, I should tell the truth because I'm going to get in less trouble if I tell the truth than if I lie to you, and then you find out. Because he's always like, how did you know? Dude, I'm not stupid. Like,
we know everything. When are they going to learn?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently not me, because Matthew went to Florida for a whole week, and I thought he was going for a weekend, so they still lie.
I think that's also the teenage thing.
Yeah, teenagers,
probably.
that's going to be the hardest because those are major lies. It's not like who peed on the floor. Oh, that wasn't me. That was the dog or whatever. But this is, I'm going to go over to a friend's house, and I'm going to go at a party and the tree. The
and
car
there's
around
that
the tree.
going on.
Yeah, that's scariness.
Yeah. I will say, I think one of the, not to brag on myself, but I think the smartest things you did was get them into Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Oh, well, considering who the father was and how inactive he was, I knew they had to have a strong, positive, brilliant male influence in their life.
and then that person failed, and then Jason got took place, right?
That's right. I showed up. I pushed him off a cliff and was like, "Hey, bitches."
You know, when we were in Big Brother, Big Sister, Jason was sitting out kind of in a little hallway, and the boys and I think my sister-in-law was with me, were shuffled into this little room, but we left the door open. Well, the boys were still at 8, very rambunctious, very into everything, and Matthew kept popping his head in and out. I bet that's him. I bet that's him. I bet that's him. So he was very, very, very excited.
Yeah. I remember when we first met, he was like, I think you told me later, he was debating whether he was wanting to wear a suit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cute.
That is cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that why you did Big Brothers Big Sisters? Kind of have the male role model in their life since
Absolutely.
you were a single mom?
Absolutely.
I did
and
the
they,
same thing.
Yeah, they needed to know that not all males would abandon them.
Right.
Yeah. And we're still dealing with that today because John still has some bad abandonment issues from Dad, and
He does.
yeah, even though I've been there, like when we started out, I was Matt's big brother, and John got his own big brother a couple of months, like 2 or 3 months later, I think
Yes.
it was, and then he left the country about a year in, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll have a story about that when the boys hit 18.
Yes. Not now.
And then he got another big brother who was, I think he was in his mid to early 20s.
And he was in college.
And
he had
had a baby.
Well, and he had to check off the check
Volunteering?
box for volunteering.
Yeah, he was,
So he didn't do it because he wanted to. It was more of a college, like, part of his...
I think he was trying to get in medical school is what
Yes.
it was. But I met him once at like a function at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and he was like, yeah, I just volunteering, like get some, like, I guess brownie points from my resume for medical school. And he was telling me how he had a baby, and I was like, oh, you ain't going to be able to do this.
How
I'm
do
like,
they even let him in then? Because they're really usually pretty good about, like, catching that sort of thing. He must have lied his ass off.
well, here's the thing. So the current, I can't remember, Michelle, I think is the current director of Big Brothers Big Sisters North Alabama, the short-haired lady.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't remember her name.
yeah, she was telling me, I've mentioned, they call us every month, or three months now that we've been together so long, but when I got Kalia, big sister, I was like, man, y'all do a whole lot more than I did with the boys when I started. She's like, well, we weren't in compliance back then. So I don't think
explain.
that would explain some things.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So-
Because I know
That would explain a lot.
They did a lot for Wesley's big brother. Like, asked him a whole bunch of questions, and then it was you have to make sure you put in your time. You have to do so many hours, blah blah blah. And that's why I got Wesley a big brother. It was like, I need someone that is a male figure in his life. He has a lot of gunkles. I mean, a lot of gay uncles.
That's horrible.
Gunkles. No, it's good. Wesley has so many role models, male role models.
Oh.
But they're his.
Oh,
I mean, they're
okay.
mine, sorry. They're my friends that became his.
I thought you meant literal gang.
No, gay uncles. Gay uncles.
Oh, gay.
Yeah,
Okay.
gay. Sorry. So gunkle is a gay uncle. That's what we call him anyways. So I knew that he had a lot of men in his life through me. So they were my friends.
Yeah.
So I was like, Ryan's your friend. Can I say his name?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
I said, Ryan's your friend. I'll talk to him just to say, this is when you're meeting up and blah, blah, blah. But we're not going to he's not going to be my best friend. I'm not going to have him over for wine or whatever.
Right.
This is your friend.
It's your...
So that it's someone he can go to if he doesn't want to talk to Jason or Zane or any of our other, male friends that we have, that he can be like, I want to talk to Ryan about this.
Yeah.
Because Ryan's my person. And that's why I wanted to do it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because since I adopted him, he didn't have, anybody outside of just who I have.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great, great, great program.
Yeah.
When it works really well.
Yeah.
That is
And then when it doesn't,
you are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. You two are amazing. I told Zane, I was like, had I not met Zane, I had thought about adopting, but adopting as a single person is difficult.
Yes.
So, yeah, especially in Alabama. I probably wouldn't, frankly, well,
You
had
probably
I
wouldn't have gotten a kid, to be honest, back in the day
Yeah.
in Alabama, you think?
Well, honestly, had I not been in Big Brothers, Big Sisters, I probably wouldn't still be in Alabama. Zane and I probably would have moved on elsewhere. Just because, like, I've told the boys, I'm like, I'm not going anywhere until you graduate high school. I'm not giving them college, but but now my mother's moving here, so I'm like, well, I guess I get into college. I'm stuck here for a few more goddamn years.
Well, that's if they go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they will. I think John will.
I think John will. Matthew is going to take the tech.
Yeah, he's pretty not headstrong. What is the term I'm looking for?
Words.
Dead set on welding, and he seems to really enjoy it.
Well, he is a natural builder.
Yeah.
Natural with his hands. Loves. I mean, when he was, as soon as he could walk, he had a screwdriver in his hand and would go around the house and unscrew things. And of course, I didn't pay any attention. I didn't know what he was doing until one day we're in the garage and he was sitting there unscrewing a screw on a cooler. Well, he was taking the lid apart. So he took the lid off the cooler. So then I start checking around the house, and sure enough, he had loosened all the door hinges on the doors. So I had to teach him, it's fine if you want to take it apart, but you have to know how to put it back together.
Right. And don't put the screwdriver inside the holes of the outlets.
Oh, yeah, he did that too.
Oh, no, did he really?
Oh, yeah. He has to learn the hard way on most everything.
Oh, wow.
So he would not stop trying to put his finger in there. Mm-hmm. So one day I just let him. And I know that sounds horrible. But then he learned, it hurts when I do that. Don't do it. And so he hasn't done it again.
Well, that you know of.
That I know of, right.
My son learns that lesson quite frequently. Not with the electricity, but I was like, I have to learn it the hard way.
Right.
So
I've always taken the approach with them, even when where I live is kind of on the side of a mountain, and my backyard is all rock.
Right.
So when they were learning to walk and play outside, playing in the backyard was a big part to me because I grew up with a rocky backyard, and so I wanted them to learn to navigate. So I would just put them over the wall. People would freak out. What are you doing? I said, look, they've got to learn to navigate those rocks, and I have to trust them. Yeah. If I freak out and overreact every time they stumble, I'm going to put fear into them, and I don't want that. So that's how that's been my mentality of raising them.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I've seen that with other people who go the other direction and they freak out and like teach phobias because Kalia's very scared of bugs, and I was like, her mother was in town, so if you're hearing that lovely jingle, that is our dryer going off and letting us know that our clothes are clean and dry. But she's very afraid of bugs, and her mom was up one time. I was like, where did she get this fear of bugs? She's like, oh, that was me, because Kiki would freak out about bugs too. And I'm like,
know that.
Yeah. So anytime there's a bug, I stay very calm, and I'm like, it is nothing to be scared of. I'm always surprised Wesley's scared of them too.
Not to the extent of Kalia, because Kalia is very annoying. I'm just saying, she starts, like a fly is on the window, and she'll start to cry and, like, back up because it's a fly. Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, it's not going to hurt you. If it's a stinger, yeah, I can understand you being a little timid about that. But no. But yeah, Wesley, I have to kill. So I had arachnophobia because my mom had arachnophobia to the point where if she saw a spider, she'd freeze. I didn't have it that bad, but I don't have it no more because I got to kill all the fucking spiders in the house because my son is scared of the fucking
That's
spiders.
exactly right.
And I have to do it because I'm like, put my big girl panties on and just kill it because...
Let me tell you, living in Germany, they didn't have a lot of things. Like, there was no mosquitoes or snakes, but they had these giant freaking spiders called wolf spiders.
Oh, joy.
And I lived by myself, and so you get this giant wolf spider, you got to man up and kill it.
Are those the kind that are like as big as like the clocks?
Yeah,
that's Australia.
That's Australia. Okay, but these are probably 1 to 2 inches.
Yeah, I've seen pictures, and they jump. I think.
And they jump. They do. So I would either capture them and set them outside, or.
Okay, so if that sounds a little weird on the audio, we had to take a break for a moment. We were having a lot of background noise, but we were just talking about wolf spiders and Gwen having to kill giant spiders that jumped at her face.
But I went down that route is because I had to teach the boys about bugs, and I did
Yeah.
not want them to have a phobia.
Yeah.
So we would go out in the backyard and dig up bugs, and I'd let them crawl over me. Now, this was not a joyous occasion for me, but I sucked it up and, laughed and, had a good time.
I must say, those boys are fucking fearless.
Yeah, they are. They are because,
Yeah. Almost a little too fearless sometimes.
Well, sometimes. But Matthew does have a fear of now wasp and bees because we were out at my dad's lake house one day and he stepped in
a nest?
a nest.
Ugh.
And he had
My mom got stung by a bunch.
bites all over. Oh,
Ugh.
yeah, it was horrible.
But see, that's a valid fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Put a fly on a window?
No.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still remember that when the first weekend we got Kalia, we went to a friend of Jennifer's house for a 4th of July thing, and she was in the back seat. We'd had her maybe 48 hours, and there was a moth in the back, and she was playing on the tablet. She flung that thing across the car and started flipping the fuck out. So I had to pull over, and because she was flipping out so bad. I think, admittedly, it was like 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
She was 5 years old. And, new house, exhausted. So I'm not, it wasn't matter, but I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
I could hear her screaming all the way outside,
Yeah.
at Ceci's house, because you just pulled over, maybe 2 houses down, and I could hear her screaming, so I, go over, what the hell's happening,
Yep.
did you kill the child 48 hours? I understand, but do we need to go dig a hole into the, the ground and bury her real quick and just be like, I don't know what happened to her. But she was screaming hardcore.
Wow.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But, yeah. So back to single motherhood.
Well, that's part of it.
It is part of it.
Yeah, it's teaching them not to be
like
children.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
No, you're doing great.
I don't know if he I'm trying to get no fears, and I don't. He has some, but I try to make it I also don't want him killing things.
Right.
He has a kind of. I feel like he wants to kill a lot of bugs, and I'm I know I'm killing spiders, but I don't know. I'm not gonna put it in my hand. I can't. I can kill it for you, and that's pushing my boundaries.
Totally.
But then, if I can save something, I save it.
Right.
And I'm oh, it's going outside because we don't kill living things because I don't want you to become a serial killer when you get older. All these things go through your head.
Yeah, just because I kill bugs does not mean they're going to be a serial killer.
But,
Yeah.
you hear stories, serial killers kill bugs, and they kill the animals, and then they kill the people. So, it's slippery slope.
Killing animals is one thing. Killing bugs.
No, but he just seems to be so fascinated by it. It just scares me. I don't know why.
Maybe dissect one with him.
Fuck that.
That's what high school's for.
Yeah. He'll get his
Stuff to
pig
worm.
and his frog, and
He
but
can
then
have
I
at
probably
it.
don't even want to do that. I'd be no, I need you to take him out of that class today because I don't want my baby to be chopping up people when he gets older.
John just told me that he dissected a sheep's brain
Oh.
In school?
at school in a science
Well, I would hope
class.
so. Not at the house.
Well, yeah.
Well, I was just how did you get access to a sheep?
Which was he thought it was really cool. They mapped all the nerves and
That is pretty cool.
yeah. But he's one that will capture bugs or at least I'll capture the bug and he doesn't want me to kill it. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get Wesley there eventually, I hope.
Yeah. You will.
Matthew's not like that.
Matthew's a killer?
Yeah, okay. Matthew's like,
But he will kill a bug quickly, but he loves he's a big animal lover too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them are. Yeah,
Yeah.
Matthew. I guess Matthew especially.
So when so did it get easier after they were toddlers? I mean, I know the stories about them getting into the paint and dumping paint all over your kitchen.
Well, yeah, that's when I guess they were still crawling. And so one of the hardest times at that age, I'd say between 6 months and a year and a half is, them starting to understand their independence and me getting ready for work in the morning, and I can't pay attention to both. And I would let them crawl around the house, and me and my dad had just finished painting something in the house, some walls, and put the can of paint by the back door, thinking the lid was on all the way. So I get ready for work. Dad's upstairs getting ready for work, and I walk into the kitchen, and they are sitting in the middle of the kitchen with paint head to toe all over the kitchen floor. Yeah, so it wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. So needless to say, I was very late to work that day.
Very much. Yeah, I can see that. Having to clean them.
But they were, it got easier when they could talk
And let you know what their needs were.
and let me know what their needs were. And I mean, it was still difficult, but at least they could talk to me and let me know.
Yeah.
And then when they started learning to do things themselves, so I started teaching them, about cooking at a very early age and cleaning. And so.
I think they forgot those lessons.
Yeah, I think so.
I think most teenagers forget those lessons too, don't
that's
they?
true.
Yeah.
Cleaning especially.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really got easier when they were more independent.
Yeah.
But now the problems are bigger.
Yeah. More expensive.
More expensive. Right.
And like life altering.
Yes. Yes. So.
Do they get together? Like, did they play together, or were they off doing their own? Like, were they two separate entities that were just like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, but not play together?
Well, so they are polar opposites, which is amazing.
Yes.
John is very athletic, very a strategic thinker, very in his brain a lot, trying to figure things out. Matthew is fast as lightning. He gets stuff automatically. He can put it together in his brain automatically.
He's a doer.
Yeah.
John's a thinker.
Right. And so one weekend, when their godparents were in town, their godfather, Jim, brought a war game. And so he sat down with John and Matthew and taught them how to play a war game. Well, Matthew was not interested. I don't know if you know anything about war games, but they're very strategic. You have to think about the big picture.
Like 10 steps ahead.
Right.
Make your first move kind of
Right.
thing. Yeah.
And so that's when we found out that John really is
The thinker.
the thinker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Matthew just wanted to go, like, blow shit up.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
But
John,
they did.
and John's the mouth.
John is the mouth and Matthew's the fist, and that's always how it has been, and it's still like that.
Yep.
So John will provoke Matthew, Matthew will punch him. And John still has not learned, and I guess Matthew hasn't either.
Yeah. In the 8 years I've known them, they will. They're so funny to me because they're like, they fight fucking constantly, but then they're just like, oh, come look at this. They're just like, they're best frenemies.
Yeah, and it scares me. I mean, they will physically fight, punch one another, and I am all worked out and bent out of shape, and then 30 minutes later, they're in one room laughing and having a good time, and I thought,
The fuck are you kids?
Yeah. So I've tried to stop stressing about it and tried to tell them to go outside.
Well, that's a lovely thing to say until they start punching holes in wall.
Right.
I think they're on the third set of doors to their bedroom.
It really doesn't
Well,
work.
if they go outside, they can punch the rocks.
But when you're in the heat of the moment, it's hard to get them to go
That's
outside.
true. That's true.
And it's not like they're disciplined enough to take themselves outside.
Yeah.
That's true. I do remember, I think it was right after I started hanging out with Matt. I think you told me that you came home and they were in the front yard practicing punching each other.
Yes. Yes.
In the face.
In the face. Right. And it didn't faze them.
Yep.
And that's kind of, that's how they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the other interesting thing with them is probably since birth, they have switched personalities. So not the strategic thinking and the fast part, but
The crying baby and then the calm baby?
kind of. Matthew's always been more of a colicky crying baby. But, who was more cuddly or who wanted the truck more versus, I don't know, the rocket. So they would switch, and it was quite often when they were younger. But they still switch now to this day, and that this has recently happened. John is more of the Hellraiser right now, and Matthew has really grown up.
Yeah, he's calmed down a lot.
He has calmed down a lot. Where it used to be John John was on top of the world. He played soccer. He was a great student. He was just number one in everything.
Right.
And Matthew always felt inferior. Well, that's flipped.
Yeah.
Now Matthew has a great job he loves. He's doing really well in school. He's got a good set of friends, and John doesn't.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting how they treat each other now that they see the other's perspective as a young adolescent.
Yeah. I still think Matt still feels like, from what, my own interactions with him, he still feels like the imposter. He feels like he doesn't know what he's doing. But I can tell he's settled into himself a lot more than John has. John's still kind of searching to figure out who he is. And I think a lot of that is the abandonment issues that he's
absolutely.
been dealing with. So,
and Matthew from, a couple of years ago, just said, hey, I'm done with him.
Yeah.
And he has let it go where John can't.
Yeah.
John has hung on to it, and I completely understand.
Yeah.
And him is bio dad, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. John has a bad tendency to have these mile-high expectations of people.
Yes.
Build up expectations of people, and then he gets his hopes crushed. And, I've told him before, I was like, listen, you want to be happy, just drop your expectations. Have none, and you'll be so happy.
I was just like John, though. And that was a hard lesson for me.
Yeah. But I remember when his dad... So, Gwen's dad. The boy's dad showed up in their lives about 4 years ago. Is that when it was?
Yes.
About 12 years old.
Yeah.
He made contact. He had been in California, and you helped him move out
I helped him move out here.
Yeah.
Under the auspice of being involved in the boys' lives. And
yeah. Because y'all had flown them out to California to go visit him a few times, and it seemed to go well. But then he got a divorce from his current wife, and he moved out here and lived with y'all for
3
few
months. Yeah.
But then it kind of just went to hell after that.
Yeah, it did. And
he just dropped in like a bad habit.
he just didn't know how to be a father.
Yeah. Well, and I think, yeah.
And he doesn't try.
Yeah. Well, I think he's also, frankly, from the amount of anger that John just, you can feel the heat coming off of him, because the anger. It was like, I don't want to say, what he did, what their father did was bullshit. And if you're listening to this, I do not respect you and I don't like you. But I can somewhat understand, because it's intimidating to have that much anger directed at you. Not that John didn't have a reason to have it, but if you're not a healthy person in general and can't handle that, which apparently he never has been able to, because he's run from every relationship he's ever had.
Yes.
It doesn't shock me that he does it.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, but he's...
And he might not even think why.
He
might be one of those people that just says, why the hell are you looking at me like that? I didn't do nothing wrong.
Well, he thinks that, he thinks that he has apologized to them many times, so that should be it.
Yeah.
But it just runs a whole lot deeper than that, and he just doesn't get it.
Right.
Yeah. The biggest thing he just should have done is just shown up.
Right, which...
Yeah.
And even if you do get that, you feel the madness coming from the child, you just keep showing up. That's what you gotta do. Just show up. Eventually, they'll be like, oh, hell, you showed up.
Yeah. And he just bails
but if he
every
just bails,
time.
then that's gonna... I hate to say it, but I hope, was it John? That's the one that still, wants him to make him... I hope one day John just understands. Look, you got Jason in your life. He's your dad, your father figure in your life. And other bio dad is just bio dad. He's the one that, helped bring you into the world, but that's all you're going to get.
He'll understand, but...
It's just a hard
Not
lesson.
yet. It is very, very hard.
Yeah.
And I think John has also had it for the longest time. Because when we first started out, I was Matt's big brother, and then probably about a year and a half into it, when the second big brother disappeared, I talked to Matt. I was like, listen, do you mind if I start hanging out with John? And he wasn't happy about it, but he was generous, and so I go back and forth with them, and I have been for the last 8 years, basically.
Yeah, and John's two big brothers really abandoned him.
Yeah.
The first one called him when he's on the way out of the country, and the second one just never showed up.
Disappeared, ghosted him.
Yeah. So that didn't help.
And you wonder why he has
abandonment issues.
Yeah.
men issues.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 men right there. Bam, bam, bam. That does it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard.
Yeah.
And that's what the big brother is not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And Jason has not, like I said in the beginning. Besides the times when get me Chick-fil-A in the afternoons, we've had some pretty major events that only Jason could help.
Yep.
And that's verbatim for the boys. They don't want me, they want Jason. And Jason just shows up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Zane puts up with it.
Yeah, he does. But just so if there are any men listening to this podcast and you're ever thinking about becoming a big brother, when Gwen says I show up, I literally am just physically there. I don't ever, half the time I never know what to say, but it seems to be enough. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're following through with what you committed to. Yeah. And that's exactly what they need to see.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I think that's something Big Brother taught us. The little bit of training we got, but also the
Foster taught.
yeah, is that do not make a promise you cannot keep. So like with Kalia and with Wesley, Jennifer and I are very careful about. We don't say, like, if we're going to go to Disney World, I don't let them know until I'm fucking pulling up to the gates.
Yeah.
Right.
I try that, especially with Big Brother, too, because sometimes Big Brother is late, or Big Brother says, I can't make it today. So I tell him, I think Ryan might be here at this time.
Yeah.
So that he has, has to get ready, of course, but then he also knows, well, Mama said think or maybe. Like, I try to put emphasis. Like, I don't want to promise him something, because if Ryan doesn't do something he says he's going to do, it's not Ryan's fault. It's Mama's fault.
Right.
It will always go back to me.
It will.
Because, and I've noticed that, like, I try so hard not to do anything that will, like, dude, don't get mad at me. I didn't do this, but let's, talk about it. Let's do this, and we'll just do something else. It's fine, but, I'm sorry I said that, or whatever the situation is.
But just remember, he takes it out on you because he trusts you.
Yeah, which, that boy called me Mama in, I think, 3 weeks of me having him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, it was really quick, and I think we didn't have that honeymoon phase that they talk about in the fostering classes, because he attacked so quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good thing. I would have rather had an angel for, a few more months. That would have been wonderful, But it also means that I'm his go-to. I'm the one he takes all his frustrations out on. I'm the one that gets all that, like you said earlier about the getting in the car. That boy won't shut up when I pick him up, because everything just it's like word vomit. It just comes out of him, and he's just like, okay, Mama hears everything that happened today. And so I have the radio playing, and I just I don't really pay too much attention, to be honest, but I just drive and listen and kind of sing underneath my breath, because I'm paying more attention to the song than him, because his stories take an hour, not really, but that's what it feels like, when it could have been 3 sentences.
Right.
But he has to tell me about the colors that the kids were wearing, and there were little kids and big kids. I'm like, dude, just get to the point.
Yeah.
But I let him talk, because I want him, when he gets older, to be able to talk to me about the important things.
Yeah.
Even though it gets on my nerves, I still let him just babble on. It's crazy.
So he trusts you.
As soon as he gets in the car, it's like, right. Well, at first he's like, hey, Mom, how was your day? And I'll just be like, good. Well, this is my day. And it's, I say one word, and he just goes into, all the stories.
Matthew would just explode physically.
Yeah.
It was very scary. So I always had John behind me, behind the driver's seat, and Matthew behind the passenger seat, because I needed to be able to reach Matthew more than I needed to be able to reach John.
Was he hitting his brother or hitting you? Or
me. He was hitting me. So we'd be fine. Then I'd put him in his car seat, buckle him in. We'd get down the road, and he would start screaming and yelling. And
oh, wow.
And so I'd reach back there and try and calm him down. Then he would attack my arm, and start punching my arm and kicking my arm. And it was so bad one time that he kicked my hand, and my hand turned immediately purple and yellow.
Wow.
And I was I did not at the time understand really what all this violence was coming from. So I stopped at a psychiatrist office and asked for help immediately.
How old was he at that time?
He was probably 6.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was diagnosed with ADHD at about 5, I think.
And he has, did he ever get an oppositional defiant disorder?
No, but he definitely has that.
Because Jennifer, like, Wesley's got a diagnosis of oppositional defiant disorder, but I'm like, seeing the difference between how you've just always described Matthew and how I've seen, how explosive he can be and how, like, Wesley can be an annoying little fuck, but it's not like it's punching holes. Hyper. Yeah. It's pouty and annoying, and it's like takes too long to calm down, but it's not like the violence that Matt always did.
I think part of Matthew's, too, looking back, was he was overly stimulated.
Yeah.
And
he gets overstimulated quickly.
He does.
Yeah.
So I think he had some light sensitivity and noise sensitivity, and he wasn't necessarily diagnosed with that, but I started paying more attention. Inevitably, when he was a baby, when we were about to sit down for dinner, he would start crying uncontrollably. Huh. Well, looking back now, it was the smell.
Oh, it's too much for him.
It was too much for him.
I got you.
Because there was the only thing I could do to settle him down is go back to my bedroom, shut the door, total black, and lay him on my chest, and he would listen to the heartbeat.
Wow.
And he would finally go to sleep, but I would never be able to eat, not normally.
Wow.
So it was sensory issues.
Yeah. He's always been like, that's what, when we first started hanging out and you warned me about like how he acted, I was always careful about, I was like, I never raised my voice with him because he was just always so, I could tell he was like, just could get so overstimulated.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But the thing I'm always amazed with, like, the not horror stories, but the just like insane stories you've always told me, and like Jennifer, I've seen this with you, being a single parent. I am so incredibly privileged that I have Zane to like help with taking to doctors' offices when I need to and whatnot. How in the fuck, like Jennifer struggles with this at work.
And I only have one.
Yeah, how the fuck have you maintained a goddamn job?
Well, I don't know. I look back. We were never able to take vacation because when one of them would get sick, 2 weeks later, the other one would be sick and I had to be home with them.
Yeah.
And then, I never got sick. But it was always one got sick, I'd have to take off work. The other one got sick, I'd have to take off. And sometimes it'd be 2 weeks. So it was a struggle. I had to do, a couple of my supervisors used to tell me, you do the amount of work of 2 people in a week.
Yeah.
And
you almost have to just to.
That's kind of what I had to do.
You're playing catch up.
But I have people who were friends of mine who had recently got divorced and would tell me, "Oh, now I'm a single parent."
Yeah.
No, you're not.
No,
You do
fuck
not
off.
understand. That's what I would,
You just parent by yourself, but you can still drop the fucker off.
Right.
Go to your dad's this weekend.
There's a
I want
difference.
break.
When you need backup, there is no backup. Yeah. There's not, unless you have, your
Close-knit family.
close-knit family.
Well, I have my village.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you probably did better with that than me because I had my friends were also my age and they had young kids too.
Yeah.
So, I had Jason, when the boys were 8 years old, but before that, it was very difficult because my boys were always rambunctious, full on Hot Wheels, tools, boy.
Yeah.
They were boy.
Destructive boys.
Destructive boys. My sister has children, and I guess they did a better job at raising them not to be destructive.
Well,
I don't think it's about
they're different.
raising,
They're different temperaments,
I was
so
about to
they're
say-
very calm and non-destructive. So it was hard for my sister and her wife to take on my kids.
Yeah,
Because
but
they
I'd
just
say-
weren't used to that.
Because your nephew and niece are both like gentle and
He's an
quiet,
empathetic.
yeah, and very
Empath.
like two mothers and had an aunt, two aunts, never saw his
Yeah.
uncle, and so he like I think he is always just like a kind of slightly nerdy, gentle child.
He's a gentle giant. He's
Yeah.
truly amazing.
And his sister was always real quiet, and so. But yeah, Matt and John are just boys, as is Matthew. He's Wesley.
Wesley.
So
He's
why
just.
are you pointing at me with Matthew? I don't have.
That was just wrong word. Sorry.
So my question is, with your boys, when you like your sister and her wife wanted to see them, did they not act like angels when they were with them? Were they always the boys?
They were always boys.
See, my boy, anyone else, he's a fucking angel. Oh, I love him so much. He was so good. He helped me do this, and this. And then I'm like, where the fuck is that at my house?
Well, sometimes they were like that. Not necessarily with my sister and her wife, because we all grew up kind of together.
gotcha.
I mean, her son, she would bring her son over, and this is so funny. When they were little, I don't know, 3, 4, 5. The thing was, they would come over, and immediately Jacob would take off his clothes and just leave his underwear on, because that's what John and Matthew wore all the time. They're not going to keep clothes on. They would just strip down to their underwear.
You were
soon.
lucky they kept their underwear on.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I was about to
So-
say at home they didn't. I think.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, it was a challenge to keep clothes on them. They just like being naked. And so that was the thing. They would come over, and I have pictures of them all in their underwear, with different costumes on or playing in the backyard. So, the boys felt very, very comfortable and trusts my sister-in-law, my sister.
Gotcha.
Because they grew like your sister lives literally like 2 blocks from you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that close.
0.6 of a mile.
Yeah, it's very close. Like easy walking distance.
Absolutely.
And Jacob is the same age as Matthew and John. right?
He's 3 weeks older.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, they're all in the same grade. Whew, that's a whole lot of boy energy.
Yeah.
It is, and I'm a tomboy by nature, so I've always loved the outdoors, and I was never really into dolls that much. I had 1 or 2, I think, growing up. So I was thankful that there were boys and I didn't have to deal with hair and female girl attitudes. And, I mean, there's challenges to boy attitudes too, but to me, they're easier because, at least with my guys, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, they're very direct. Mm-hmm. Kalia is so bad about fucking putting words in your mouth.
Yeah.
And like John and Matt are just like, oh, this is what you said. This is what you meant. Kalia's like, oh, you said this? That means 3 things else. I'm like, no, you little bitch.
Say it back to me the way that I said it to you.
Yeah.
That's what you do with Wesley?
No, that's
No,
what
'cause-
they do with
Kalia
Kalia.
is so bad about that shit.
You'll say, let's say, go to your room, and then she'll hear, go in the living room, pick up a doll, walk it gently to her room, slam some doors, and you're like, did I tell you to do all that? She just said, go to your room.
Yeah.
And you have to tell her, repeat it back to me, what I just said. Because she does it a lot.
But I will say, part of that too is she is super good at reading in between the lines.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're trying to be like obtuse about something, I'm like, oh, Daddy and so are wrestling. Not she's too young for that, but like if you try to imply something so the adults will understand, but the kids won't, she'd be like, oh, so they're gonna fight to the death, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Pretty smart
Yeah,
girl.
she's very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very smart. For
And
a
it's smart
7-year-old
mouth.
little sassy girl.
God bless.
Who I love.
So, Jennifer, have you felt the pressure of being a true single parent too? Where
My true.
there's only you. That, I guess that was my mindset. And ultimately it's only me. Like, there's only me to save money for them. There's only me to buy them a car or help them buy a car, or it's only me to, I don't know.
Provide for them.
Provide for them. And to me, that's very, very scary. It's still scary to me.
Well, he's only 10, so I'm not thinking about cars right now because he's telling me he wants a Lamborghini.
Oh,
so, you know,
okay.
I'm like, yeah, not going to happen. But I don't really feel any pressure when it comes to taking care of him.
I'm gonna disagree on that.
On money-wise?
Not money.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
Oh, okay,
Let me
okay.
finish.
Sorry.
Damn, Jason.
Let me mansplain.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what I feel.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Okay, go.
But no,
sorry.
like when it comes to the money of like cars or what I do to take care of him, I don't really have any worries about that. I worry more, like, I know it's me, but luckily I have Jason and Zane, like, you know, grandma, grandpa,
Yep.
old mom, pops, like, I have family, but mostly Jason and Zane are my go-to of, can you spend the night so I can work overtime at work, kind of thing.
Yeah.
My worry is, am I doing an okay job? Like, I don't even, like, at the point, sometimes, like, I don't even know if I don't even want to put good in the sentence. It's like, am I doing okay?
Right.
Am I going to raise a serial killer? Am I going to raise a bum? Am I going to, you know, is he going to move out at 18? Is he going to go to college? That is mostly what I feel like. I want the boy to read. I want the boy to learn. And I get worried about him not learning right. And that's mostly what I worry about. Not really the monetary part of it, but the emotional and, you know.
I think at their age, at Wesley's age, I too worried about the same thing.
Yeah.
With the boys. And what I learned is, number one, not everybody wants to go to college, and it's okay not to go to college. Yeah. It depends on what they want to do and what their natural skills are.
Right.
So, know their limitations and don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he could, for what I've told Matthew recently, he told me he wants to go to college, which is the first time ever.
Really?
And I said, seriously, Matthew, you've never mentioned that to me. He said, I just want to go for the partying.
Yeah. Just gotta live next to a college. Though.
I said, okay,
Yeah.
if you want to learn about life and enjoy it, then I'll send you to Europe for 3 months. And
Yeah,
you can
seriously.
backpack across Europe, and you will learn more about life than going to college.
Can you send me to Europe as well?
Only if you'll go with me.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of my take on it is you have to trust your child. Guide them, obviously.
Right.
But don't put so much pressure on yourself because that really is self-defeating.
Yeah.
You know.
I will say, having watched you reminds me a little bit of watching Gwen too. Like, I see the things you stress out about though are like all the time off you have to take off from work.
Yeah.
And I get. That's what I was commenting. So you were like, "Oh, I don't get stressed out." I'm like, I have seen you get a little like, "Oh God, I'm taking off so much time." And I've heard Gwen say the same thing, and I'm like,
Worried
no.
about my job.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all like, I can't. You know, my daughter Kiki is. For all intents and purposes, a single mother,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my God, how, you know, she doesn't have vacations, she doesn't have she has Medicaid, but, whew,
Yeah.
I was like, how the hell do single parents do it?
I mean, I stress not so much because work is they work with me. They understand
Oh, good.
that I'm a single mom. I have so much sick time. I have so much annual leave because I've been in the company for 15 years.
Okay.
I got Wesley 2 years ago, so I was never sick. Like, I go to work sick.
Right.
And then they just have to kind of send me home or I'll be like, okay, I can't do it no more. I'm going to go home. But I've always been that one that always thinks that job is priority and like not you know, no mental health day for me. Let me just go to work. I'll deal with it on the weekend, blah, blah, blah. But with Wesley, because he is a foster child and has ADHD, we do play therapy. He has a psychiatrist. He has his general practitioner, you know, pediatrician. We have so many appointments, like Jason was saying, that it's like,
it's hard.
oh my God, I got to take another 2 hours off to do this and drive him here and then go to work and then how am I going to do it? But luckily, work does work with me. I do appreciate them for that. My boss is very understanding. And if as long as I give her enough notice, then we're good. But damn COVID brain and damn mom brain, the other day, we had a day off. We went to Point Mallard, which is a water park here in Alabama. And then the next day, we had a doctor's appointment. I go to the doctor's appointment, and I get a call on the way to the doctor's appointment. Jennifer, why are you at work? I'm like, well, I have a doctor's appointment for Wesley. Did I not tell you about it? And she's like, well, you did not. I went through all my emails, and usually you're so good about telling us when you have to have time off. I was like, fuck. So I get to work, and I'm like, please don't fire me. She's like, you're okay. This is the first time you've ever done this. Just try to make sure that you tell us in the future. But mom brain is really a thing.
It really is.
It is the craziest thing. I mean, I never had the best of memory anyways. Like, just, I can remember this lyrics to like 18,000 songs, but I can't remember when Zane's birthday is.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
October 15th.
Yeah. So, like,
mom brain is very, very real.
And it's the brain is so weird about how it remembers all the trivial shit, but not the important shit.
Right.
It's really weird how all that works.
And it was hard for me to figure out, am I keeping a physical calendar? Should I keep it on my phone? Did I keep it on my work computer? And I never really got that together maybe just in the last couple of years. And who knows why it took me so long, but
Because it's hard.
It's just hard. I mean, and the amount of guilt, like you said, you feel from having to take off work so much is tremendous, and it's scary.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing.
Yeah, especially in this society.
For single parents. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. There's no, especially in Alabama.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
You fucked.
Yep.
And that's why I would get so scared for Kiki.
I'm very thankful that Wesley's not a sickly child.
Yes.
Because I have coworkers like, oh, the kid's sick again. I got to call out. And then they just call out that same day because the kid has, stomach issues or has a cold or whatever. He luckily has not had anything where we've had to, but one time where I had to be like, I can't come in because he has stomach issues.
Right.
And then, of course, I got to thinking about it. Like, when I'm sick and I'm at home, I lay in my bed, watch TV. Because that's what I do. But I'm an adult, so I can do that. So I made it a point, because he threw up in the sink. And I was like, okay, so you're having stomach issues. Here's some Pepto. Go lay down.
Right.
And he's like, but I'm bored. I'm like, but you're sick.
Right.
So go lay down. And he's like, but I have TV in my room. Can I watch TV? No, you're sick. You lay in the bed. Because this was our first time. So, again, still learning about all this. I probably had him maybe 6 months.
That was very, very good that you did that.
And I was like, well, let me make it kind of a horrible experience because I didn't want the, I'm sick, I want to stay home kind of attitude. Because I mean, my mom knew when I was lying whenever I tried to do that, like not take a test when I was, middle school or something like that. She knew. She's like, you're not sick, you're trying to get out of something, go to school. I didn't know him that well yet, so it was okay, well, let me just make it hard and miserable for you, and then that way, when you're sick, you know what you have to do. And this is what you do. You just lay in the bed. I'll get you, wet washcloth for your head. I will baby you a little bit, but you're not going to watch TV, you're not going to play games, you're not going to have fun. It is you're sick, so this is what you do. You lay in the bed.
Yeah, I used to, when I was in high school, I used to fake illness.
Did you ever do like what they do in the movies, like put the thermometer on the light to try to make it hot? Just have a fever.
Because growing up, I was like the good. My brother was a bit like Matthew and Wesley. He had ADHD and was just really impulsive and just the bad kid. And I was the good one. But come senior year, I had good grades. And I was like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to call in. So I skipped like 20 days my senior year. I was skipping constantly. I even forged my mom's signature a few times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I know. Mom knows. It's okay. I asked her the other day, I was like, you want to come be on the podcast? Like, I don't know. So it's just like every time I talk about y'all's childhood, I start crying. I'm like, oh, God, Mother, it wasn't that bad. Oh, I know.
She's such a sweet lady.
Oh, don't tell her that. No, I'm just kidding.
She already knows.
All right, ladies, I think this is a good time to transition to our next segment, which is snack time.
Snack time.
Ooh, you want to tell them what we're snacking on, Jennifer?
We are snacking on baked brie on baguettes.
Man,
It's
Miss Gwen.
very yummy.
Yeah, Gwen had told me about it a while back. I'd had brie before, but I'd never tried baking it, and I was like, "Ooh,
Oh yeah, it's delicious.
yeah." It changed. Unfortunately, we've been sitting like if you're hearing it in the microphones, we're surreptitiously trying to chew and not like. So,
At least it's not crunchy like the pretzels was last time.
yeah, we have discovered that any snacks we have cannot have crunch to it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because otherwise we're just like.
Because I mean, even if you try to get away from the microphone, you're still close enough that you can hear it crunching everywhere. So yeah, that was bad.
All right, so we got our drinks, we got our snacks. Miss Gwen, it's story time.
Yes.
And I know you have about a million good stories about these little shitheads.
You know, I've been thinking about that, and that paint story always comes to my head. But I mean, I have little stories like, Matthew would make a big deal out of running away, and maybe I should have gone after him, but I never did. I mean, I let him, think it was okay to run away, and he would walk down the street, and 30 minutes later, he'd be back. And by then, they were old enough. They knew the neighborhood. They knew the neighbors.
Yeah.
And I live in a safe neighborhood.
Well, they were also they were doing this by high school time too.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think I think the reason he was doing that was to upset you.
Push my buttons.
Push your buttons and also just get a break for himself.
Yes. So he always liked to push my buttons. Still does.
I think you should tell. Oh no, we already told that story about the going to the beach for a week and lying about it. Trying to think what other good stories we have about the boys that I'm brain farting at the moment.
Didn't they break a toilet or something?
No, that was they all went on vacation with the boy's dad.
The people broke the toilet.
Yeah, the people broke the toilet. I'm trying to think. You want to tell about one of the many times Matt spent a few dollars on the Xbox?
Oh my gosh. So, I guess I didn't realize how smart they were and how sneaky they were.
Your sons?
Yes. So, both of them did it, but the first one to really do it was Matthew. Stole my debit card, and before I realized it, probably in 2 days, he spent $750.
Oh my God.
On the Xbox.
On the Xbox. On games, and he was the one that was always stealing money from me and trying to use my debit card for this, that, the other, and apparently did. But I had to call Microsoft and call my bank, and I eventually got all my money back. But that was a shock to the gut, because as a single parent, I wasn't affording $750 to be gone out of my account. I needed that money.
Right.
So
that's mortgage money.
Absolutely.
I've heard, now that you would probably know better than I, because I haven't experienced this, but is it true they'll refund the first one, and then if it keeps happening, they're like, sorry?
Well, they refunded 2.
They did, okay.
For him. And then they refunded, I think, 2 for John.
Oh my God. So they did it 4 times?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it always that immense amount of money? That $7?
John's, I think. Well, the second one for Matthew was, I think, $350, and John's first one was around $300. His second one was $700.
Oh God.
So in total, they spent about $2,000 total.
Yes. Now they were always into my things, very nosy, did not respect my privacy. They're still like that. Take my things at will, no matter what I did. I even got a safe. Actually, we've been through 2 safes, and I would lock my things up in a safe. Well, no, he would. One time, I guess the first safe, Matthew took a hammer to it and got it open, so it wasn't a very good safe.
Oh wow!
Damn, is that the one I bought you?
Yes.
Oh. Sorry.
So the second one, I got a better safe, and he snuck, so it has a combination and then a lock. And because I have mom's brain, I didn't put a combination on it because I knew I would not remember it.
Right.
Not thinking the little buttholes are going to steal the keys out of my purse and go in there.
Oh, wow.
So at this time, I don't even know if I should tell the story.
Yeah, we can edit out if we need to.
Matthew.
Oh, is this the hand?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
the hand story.
Let's save that one for the next time you're on,
Okay.
because that's a good one. I do want to share. I do remember it was right after your father passed. Joju died. You inherited some of his handguns, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
And I remember I was shocked because the boys were like, "Oh, you!" I was dropping Matt or John off. I can't remember which. And they're like, "Oh, come look at this!" And they took me in your bedroom, and they just got the guns out of your purse, out of your closet. I was like, "Oh, okay.
Oh,
Let's put those back."
Didn't even know at that time. I didn't even know they knew where they were.
Yeah, I think I did tell you about it, but
Yeah.
it was like, oh,
That's
Jesus.
probably why I got the first safe.
Yeah.
But they're not in the house anymore. So.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh my Jesus, yes.
So I'm gonna have to have a padlock.
You need to get a good sturdy
You
gun
do.
safe.
Keep
You
the
do.
keys with me at all times, like on a chain around my neck.
Yes.
And just
do a
lock everything
just
up.
forget the key. Do a combination.
I just do my birthday. He doesn't remember my birthday.
There you go. Hey, that's a great idea.
Like, what kid remembers their mom's birthday?
Yeah,
true.
no.
I mean, I always did, but I love my
Well.
mama.
Yeah.
Goody two shoes. Oh my
What'd you
Lord.
say?
I called you a goody two shoes.
Oh, I thought you said get you some tissues.
Get her some tissues. Get this woman a tissue.
Oh, I do have another story.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Maybe when they were about 6 playing t-ball. And this is probably a typical story of boys. But, of course, John and Matthew both played t-ball on the same team, thank God. And this one particular time, Matthew's out in the outfield, drops his pants, and just starts peeing in circles.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I was watching John, not realizing what was going on
Right.
until other parents are laughing and pointing, and I look up, and oh my God, I know my face was blood red.
I'm sure it
And
was.
I'm just shouting, Matthew, pull your pants up.
But Mama had to pee.
And my dad is there just rolling.
I'm
I
sure.
would have been
That's
peeing my
hilarious.
pants. That's so funny. John did want me to tell you a story. I was telling him when we were discussing you coming on, I was at your house and the boys were like, "Oh, what embarrassing stories you gonna tell Mom?" And you stepped away, and he's like, "When my mom comes on, tell her this story." So apparently your son is, as you know, has a habit of sneaking girls into the house.
Yes.
And luckily, I think he's using condoms because I gave them like a giant bag of them. He's had sex in your bed a few times. So for our listening audience, Gwen,
Shut the front door.
are you seriously shocked by that? Of all the things your sons have
Oh
done?
my God, I feel invaded. That is disgusting.
That is very nasty because you know they didn't watch no
Shut up,
sheets.
Jennifer.
I didn't do it. Don't tell me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
I'm literally freaking out. Are you serious? He told you that?
yeah, he's like, "Tell her." I'm like, "All right, are you sure?"
He really did that.
That's what he said.
You said a couple times.
I know at least once. I'm not sure about twice, but
Where
I mean,
was I?
I don't know.
That worked.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
but
wow.
I mean, boys are gross, and those little boys do
Are gross.
and do things to get on your skin, and also their bedrooms are hot as fuck too.
Oh, they are.
So I
They're
don't know.
better this year. I've
Why
done
are
some
you
things.
trying to?
I'm not trying to
He's defending
justify.
us. I know, stop trying to justify.
taking their
That's
side.
disgusting.
Oh my
God, I could be sleeping in.
The wet spot.
Oh.
Holy Toledo.
Oh,
Gonna have a battery, like we're just gonna have like the doors like completely shut where
Oh,
no one
yes.
ever could get
They
in.
will always be locked.
oh Lord! Just what you need to do is just keep your vibrators right in the bedstand and be like, "All right, boys, you're gonna have sex in my bed. They get a view of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Get some naked
Knowing
pictures."
them, they probably would use them on the
Oh,
girls.
no, Matthew, I mean, like I said, they've always been nosy and into my things. Well, Matthew, when he was little, 4 or 5, went into my bedroom in the bottom drawer next to my bed and got 2 vibrators out and came out whipping them around. What are these, Mom? What are these, Mom?
Kind of like the plane
And my
controllers
dad
that
is
tell
like
you
in
how to
the
land.
kitchen, and I'm dying. I'm dying.
Yeah, I think it was last Christmas. I was like, Gwen, I'm gonna get you a vibrator for Christmas, but make sure you open it in front of the boys.
They were mortified.
That's funny.
Which is hilarious.
I know, right?
They're the little shits.
And the boys, just a quick question. They're fraternal, right? They're not identical?
They're
Right.
fraternal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've been talking about twins all day, and I couldn't remember if
Yeah,
they were...
they look like brothers, but they do not look identical.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to... For the listening audience.
For the listening
Yes.
It's my
audience.
first time saying that. Ooh.
Well, for the listening audience, this has been another episode of A Guide to Poor Parenting. So take our advice and don't do anything we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So thank you for listening to A Guide to Poor Parenting.
If you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening on.
And if you don't like our podcast, just like we tell our kids when they want to watch an R-rated movie.
Tough shit.
Bye. Thanks, Gwen.
Bye. Thank